Hello everyone, welcome to another video tutorial in life science tutorial. In this video, we will be discussing about what are proto-oncogenes and oncogenes and what is the difference between them, how oncogenes are responsible for cancer and RAS gene activation in cancer, different examples and the types of genes encoded by proto-oncogenes and their functions. What are proto-oncogenes and oncogenes? So let's start with proto-oncogenes. Proto-oncogenes are the group of genes that cause normal cell to cancerous when they get mutated due to any environmental factor. And what are oncogenes? Oncogenes are the mutated version of the proto-oncogene that has potential to cause cancer. Means oncogenes are all those genes which was earlier proto-oncogenes. Many abnormal cells normally undergoes a programmed form of cell death which is known as apoptosis. But when these oncogenes get activated, instead of apoptosis, they allow these cells to survive and proliferate instead of apoptosis. The first oncogenes was discovered in 1970s and was termed SRC in chicken retrovirus, and dozens of oncogenes have been identified in human cancer. So let's try to understand that how these oncogenes are responsible to cause cancer in our body. When this proto-oncogene get mutated, they form oncogenes, which has potential to cause cancer. So when these oncogenes get translated, they produce oncoproteins. And then oncoproteins somehow do two functions or two different functions. The first one is gain of function. It means it will induce cell division and proliferation. And the second one is loss in function. That means it inhibits the cell death. So the cell keep going, dividing, and it is making new cells and proliferating continuously, and it will not going kill from normal process of cell death, that is apoptosis, and then sooner or later it will turn out into a tumor, and that tumor will turn out in a malignant tumor, and that will ultimately cause the cancer in our body. So so these oncogenes are responsible to cause the cancer in our body. And what are the oncogenes? Oncogenes are the mutated version of proto-oncogenes. So what are the factors? What are the factors that are responsible to induce cancer? Mostly the chromosomal mutations like deletions or duplication. When in the chromosome, when there is a mutation or point mutation or something is that there, or duplication of the gene, then these proto-oncogenes get converted into oncogenes, or they make oncogenes. And the second one, the factor which is responsible to induce cancer, is a viral infection. The next is RAS gene activation in cancer. RAS means rat sarcoma virus. It is a family of genes that make proteins involved in cell signaling pathway that control cell growth and cell death. So here let's try to understand the function of these RAS proteins in normal cells and in cancerous cells. In normal cells, these RAS genes such as HRAS, KRAS, NRAS, they encode GTP binding on P21 protein that will switch on or off the cell division. Means cell will undergoes controlled proliferation. In cancerous cells, these RAS genes also get mutated. The point mutation occur at the codon 12 to 13 and 61, which altered P21 protein continues constitutively activated, and that ultimately leads uncontrolled cell proliferation. Now, the types of genes encoded by proto-oncogenes and nature of their products. The first one is cis. This gene is responsible for the synthesis of platelets-derived growth factors. ERBB. This is responsible for the synthesis of epidermal growth factor. The next is SRC, RAS and RAF. This gene is responsible for the synthesis of protein that activate protein kinase or cell transducers. EGF, or we can say it HER2. This gene is responsible for the synthesis of growth factor receptor. The next is KRAS. This gene synthesis the GTPs. Next is June phos or mice. This is responsible for the synthesis of transcription factor, which is very important. The next is cyclin D1. This is responsible for the synthesis of proteins that control cell cycle. BCL2, synthesis of proteins that affect apoptosis. So these are some examples of the proto-oncogenes that are very important to the that are very important in our cell and the regulation of the cells. So if you like this video, please hit the like button, share with your friends and definitely subscribe my channel. Thank you.